Okay, hi Saurabh. Thank you for joining here at EJable today. I'm really happy to have you and have this opportunity to talk to you and to get to know of your story here of how you came to working in Japan. And I'm sure everyone else is happy to know and just to hear your experience. And so if I could, so yeah, to begin, is it okay if I ask you to give us a little bit of your introduction and a bit of your background, please?
Sure. And thanks a lot for having me. And I'm happy to obviously share my experiences. So my name is Saurabh. I am from India, and I came to Japan in this year, which is 2022, in June. And before that, I've only worked in India for about 6, 7 years. I've mostly worked in the tech space as a product manager in various cities in India. And how I came to Japan, I was looking for opportunities to work outside of my country, and I wanted to also look for opportunities where I can sort of learn a lot more. And this opportunity where I work right now came up, and it was an added bonus that was Japan because I've always been fascinated by the country. So that's how I came here. Yeah.
I see. Can I know where or when was your first interaction with the country, like with Japan in general? Like, I know some people finds out about Japan through our food or our culture or the anime side. But yeah, I'm just wondering, yeah, what made you interested in Japan?
Yeah, for sure. So I think I'm one of the few minority of people who was not came to Japan because of anime. Uh, because a lot of people who come here from abroad do like anime a lot. For me, I think the first instance that I remember of Japan was because when my mother actually traveled to Japan almost 20 years back to Tokyo, lived here for a long time, and then she came back and she got lots of games, Nintendo, and so many things. And that's where I first knew about Japan. I started sort of playing games. I started reading about Japan, and I've also sort of that was the first instance. And since then, also outside of the country, I've never traveled to Japan before I came here. But whenever I've met somebody who's from Japan, I've had the best sort of time because they're so everybody's I've met from Japan has been so nice, and that's consistent across. So, and also I love photography, and I love sort of traveling as well. And whenever it was always a dream to sort of come here and just travel a lot and sort of click pictures, and that's been another thing for sure.
Okay, very nice. Then, so you've been here for almost 6 months, or just around 6 months?
Yeah, I think I've been here for a little more than 6 months. I started working at the company I'm working at right now, I would say since March for working from home. So about 3 months I worked from home in India, and then I shifted here while the visa process, etc., was being done. So yeah.
I see. Was that process of moving from India to Japan difficult or not necessarily?
I think for me, it was not difficult because, as I said, I came here when I knew I had a job. I knew what I'm going to do. And fortunately, my company actually helped me a lot, completely taking over the visa process, giving me a sense of what to expect, giving a sense of, where I can live, helping me navigate, where I can sort of it's from sort of right from when I was in India to when I came to Japan. I think everything was sort of taken care of. So I don't think I had an issue. I would say I have had an issue if I didn't have when I'm going to the ward office, for example, right? So just not being able to speak Japanese sometimes did, but even then I had like people who were helping me out, so I didn't face any issues, to be honest.
Okay, I see. So before you came to Japan, you had basically like zero Japanese.
Yes, I had zero Japanese. So as I said, because I came to Japan because I was looking for opportunities, and it happened to be in Japan. So it was not like I learned Japanese and then I thought,
Yeah,
let's look for companies in Japan. So I had zero Japanese, and also the reason is that my company doesn't require me to know Japanese. If that was the case that I needed to speak Japanese, I think it would have been harder. So yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, so I'm wondering, over the past 6 months, have you picked up any Japanese or?
Yeah, I think I have, but I think it's been slightly slower in terms of picking up. Also, my company provides me like free classes, Japanese classes at work. I
Okay.
can every week I can just like during work hours, they just like we just do Japanese lessons.
Yeah.
And also I've picked up a lot of I would say restaurant and izakaya Japanese
Yeah.
just to order food and just ask what it is and things like that. But other than that, it's been that's been my extent of Japanese, to be honest.
Okay. So do you think that like not knowing Japanese gives you a like a big barrier to like how easy it is to be in Japan?
Uh, I would say yes, it does. I mean, I'd say that when I came here, I didn't know what the extent of English is, number of people who know English. But when I came, I realized that very few people actually can speak and understand English.
Mm,
So it does have an impact on my social life. For example, it's not as easy for me to sort of talk to people, anybody.
yeah.
But having said that, I think even if you pick up a few words
Mhm.
for something you want to do, and also you have Google Translate a lot of times, so that's not an issue. And
Mhm.
also, if you speak slowly, sometimes even in English, there's people do pick up the
Yeah.
words and understand what you're trying to ask. In terms of work, I don't think it's been an issue at all.
Okay.
Because in my company, I work in a very multinational, multicultural team.
Mhm.
So more than I would say Japanese, there are people from about 20, 30 countries. So everybody has a very different point of view, different languages that they know. So it's not been an issue.
Okay.
And whenever I've had to speak to people who do not know English, there are interpreters who are available for Zoom calls. And
Mm.
so it's not an issue work-wise for sure.
Okay. So your work is basically based in English on, yeah.
Yes, mostly. I mean, I wouldn't say it's completely in English, but
Mhm.
there are certain teams certainly which are a lot more Japanese focused. For example, sales teams, etc., which have to go and talk to sort of people.
Yeah.
But my team and my larger sort of team is not. They don't need to know Japanese at all.
Okay. And so I'm guessing that your team or your working environment is very international, I think.
Yes, it's very international. So, I mean, I don't know the exact numbers today, but what I've been told, I think there are people from about 25 to 30 plus countries in my company, and yeah, I think it's a very multicultural sort of place, and everybody, and also I don't feel alone in terms of not knowing Japanese also, because everybody's going through the same thing. So
Yeah.
there's always a ready community already.
Mhm.
But having said that, a lot of people I know are sort of learning Japanese. It's not like people are assuming that there's not required for us to know Japanese at work, but people are learning Japanese. Some already started learning Japanese before they came in. Some already knew it. Some are starting, and some are so it's a different range.
Okay.
People, yeah.
I see. Then can I know if, so coming from India to, well, it is a company in Japan, was there something that you had to adapt to in your working style in order to fit the company that you work at now?
Yes, I think that's a good question because when I had come in, in fact when I started working at my company back in March when I started from India, I started to. I mean, it's not even when I came to Japan, but before that, did see a lot of differences
Mhm.
in the working culture. I think maybe this is quite well known as well. Like there are a lot of positives that I saw. Right, there's a lot of attention to detail. Like people really
Mhm.
care about the quality of your work. It has to be up to a certain standard, which is great because it also pushes me to sort of deliver at a higher quality.
Mhm.
So that I loved it all, loved a lot. Another thing which I mentioned in the past is about the language. I think there's some people who don't know your language. So I think what I had to do was maybe speak slowly, communicate a lot more, make
Mhm.
sure people understand. Don't assume people have understood something.
Yeah.
Go out of your way to add clarity. Listen to people. So those things I had to change.
Mhm.
The differences, I think I would say one thing that another thing is that there are a lot of rules and structures in Japan, at like everywhere, I think, at work as well.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of things which you had to I had to adjust to, but they're not as strict, I would say, at work for me, because as I said, I work in a very multicultural team. So
Yeah.
the culture is not as Japanese as it would be in a typical Japanese company.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's another difference I saw for sure.
I see. Okay. Then can I know what you like about your current job as a senior product manager at your company?
Yeah. So as I said, like one of the reasons I came here is because of this job. So I definitely like this job.
Mhm.
And generally because I like my role, what I do. I think as I love being a product manager. It
Mhm.
gets me an opportunity to speak to and be around a lot of different types of people. Like I don't need it's like you work with the business team, the sales team, the marketing team, the engineers, designers. So it's very I get a lot. That's a very interesting thing. And I
Mhm.
also get to be creative and also be very look into data. So all of these things I really like. And whatever you sort of think about and whatever things that you think about building, they can actually be built and be used by end consumers and in a different country also, right? So you also get to know how people are using it in Japan. So in terms of my role, I like it for sure. Yeah,
I see. Well,
and
that's
that hasn't changed. Yeah.
then I guess moving on to a bit of your outside of your work here in
Yeah.
Japan. Do you have like a relationship with your colleagues that you also like have a social life with, like that you would go out for drinks or for dinners or something like that?
Yeah, so as I said, like there are a lot of people who are outside from
Mhm.
outside Japan. So if there's an automatic, easy sort of, you feel like you're in the same boat. So I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of friendship that builds up. So I do have a few friends from my office,
Mhm.
and I have sort of gone out with them a lot of times outside of work as well.
Yeah.
So there have been situations where you don't know what, like you have no idea what's happening, you don't know language,
Yeah.
and situations where you don't know what to do. So
Mhm.
you just call them up and they help you. Sometimes they don't know Japanese, but they do know Japanese, so they help you out as well. So I've been in situations where people were sick or had COVID, and we help each other out. So it's been quite nice for sure.
Yeah, that sounds, yeah, very supportive community, I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
Then what do you do in your free time? Like,
Yeah. So I actually mostly like to sort of travel a lot here. I within Tokyo and also outside. I have had opportunities to go to a lot of places outside
mhm.
Tokyo and travel Japan, which was a goal of mine when I came in.
Yeah.
I also like I've been really interested in gotten serious about running as an activity. So I found a few groups in Tokyo and I run with them and we do hikes and running, and that's been very good. In fact, I'm going to be traveling across also just to run a few races. So that's going to be a way for me to travel and also do
Oh,
both of this. And yeah, and generally just finding new restaurants and
yeah.
it has been something which I'm interested in. So yeah,
I
that's it.
see. The group of people that you run with, are they fully are they a Japanese group?
That's not a Japanese group, but that's just mostly like I would say again multicultural. I think there's a high majority I would say are expats, but there are a lot of Japanese people as well.
Oh, I see. How did you manage to find that?
Because so I have somebody who's my sort of a running person who helps me train in India, and she knew
Mhm.
somebody in Japan.
Oh,
So
okay.
then she connected me to somebody else. So it's just like one person knew the, so we just that's how we got to know each other.
Okay. Is it easy to run around in Tokyo? Because I feel like personally it's very busy and like the roads are, very small. Uh,
I think yeah. So that's interesting, right? So because I came from India, and I would say
Mhm.
it's even worse in India in terms of running, right?
Yeah.
Because uh, I think Japan and Tokyo is a lot more pedestrian friendly and walking friendly
Ah,
than at least India is. And also, I think there are a lot of places in Tokyo that you can run. There's so many parks. one of the places where we all meet, like from around Tokyo, is like we go to Yoyogi Park, Ota Field.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll run there. So if you go there, so there are a lot of people running. So that's one place. But
Mm.
every, I think, sort of city within Tokyo has very big parks, and you can sort of go there as well.
I
Yeah.
see. Oh, nice. Then, yeah. So personally, I haven't been in Japan for the past 10 years. So this is like my first time coming back. So I want to know where it was your favorite place that you visited within Japan outside of Tokyo.
Okay, interesting. Where was my favorite place that I visited outside of Tokyo? I would say, um, I think maybe it was Kyoto.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah. So because I think, yeah, I think it was fun because I was the first. I visited a few places around Tokyo, but Kyoto was really nice because it's just everything is just so beautiful. I think it was a perfect weather. I went during autumn, like red,
oh,
and I had my family visiting here, so it was like a
mm,
big family trip after like 6 7 months.
yeah.
And we took them around, and it was amazing because it was a perfect weather. The
Mm.
people are extremely nice. I don't know. I feel like people in Kyoto I found way nicer than people in Tokyo.
Uh-huh.
They're a lot more. They approached me a lot more. They asked me if I needed help. They were a lot more friendlier. So I liked it a lot. And I also happened to in the same trip go to Nara as well.
Oh, yeah.
I was also nice. So I think that was my so far has been a very nice trip. I also climbed Fuji, which was also really good, but
Wow.
it was painful. So I wouldn't count it as my top thing, but so that was also a good experience.
Oh, okay. Wow. Mount Fuji. Wow. Okay. I see. Yeah, I'm planning to go to Kyoto, so I'm excited to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. I see. Then can I know what you like or what you don't like about the Japanese culture?
Okay, so I think as I mentioned, so I think, as I mentioned before, I really feel like people in Japan are very respectful of everybody around them. I think it's a very community-minded community, like where people care a lot about cleanliness. They care about that everybody, nobody else is being inconvenienced in any way. So you find even in a city like Tokyo, like which is like one of the biggest cities in the world,
Yeah.
it's way quieter than it should be as a civic city. It's way more make clean. People are a lot more structured. They follow the rules, and they're generally very respectful. So which I find very nice. I love the food here. And just the sheer quality of food, I feel
Okay.
I very rarely have had bad food in any place.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think it's just generally in the culture of Japan, right? You just put a lot of effort into whatever you do. Like
Mhm.
you want to make sure that the quality standards are very high in anything you
Right.
do. So that
Right.
also is you comes through in the food, etc. And the travel is really good, and
Mhm.
people go out of the way to help each other out, right? So, for example, as I've also read this and seen this in videos and stuff. Like people, if you forget something, they you make sure they'll get back. It's
Yeah.
happened to me 2 3 times.
Oh,
Like
okay,
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like once I was in going on a subway, like train. I was very new, and I wanted to go to a certain place, and I didn't know which platform.
Mhm.
And this person, I asked him in broken Japanese and English, where do I go? And he helped me, saying that it's platform number two. But then I reached platform number two and realized it's the wrong platform. And I saw that this person was running behind me saying that I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's one. And
Oh,
then he went with me to
oh,
back to the platform. See, because he was so, and I was like, no, you make sure, I'll want to make sure that you get back. So
uh-huh.
yeah, this is small things that have happened. So that's very nice.
Mhm.
In terms of what I feel, I would personally not like about Japan. I think generally it's similar to what I mentioned here earlier. Is that Japan generally is a lot more conformist as a society. I would say that people like to follow the rules a
Yeah.
lot more,
Yeah.
even at the cost of individual freedom in terms of what they want to say. And if they feel
Yeah.
something, they will not sort of say it because they will feel like they are being disrespectful, or
Mhm.
they're not following the rules. So that I feel has an impact generally in people's lives. And also, I think professionally, sometimes you feel like people would rather follow the rules than be a lot more creative and be
Mhm.
entrepreneurial. So I
Yeah.
do see that changing now.
Okay.
And also, I feel like these rules are not as applicable to foreigners as they are for
Mhm.
Japanese people. So I do feel I'm slightly more lucky, but that's one thing I wish was changed, or
Mhm.
at least was less true.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is, I feel like I wish people would speak a lot more openly about what they feel,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So people don't, even if they don't disagree with you, even
Mhm.
at work, right? If they don't agree with my point of view, rather than, saying that, okay, they would rather have a second, third meeting to discuss
Yeah.
it again than say, I don't like this.
Yeah.
So I would rather that people speak their minds a lot more.
Mhm.
And I know it's not very easy, but I would just, these are the couple of things I feel which I don't like.
I see. Yeah. I understand as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, how do you like living in Tokyo? Like it's very busy, on the trains in the morning and in the evening, it's very busy as well. I personally am not a big fan, so I'm wondering how you feel about how busy it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually work from home mostly.
Uh-huh.
I have a hybrid sort of model with my company.
Yeah.
I go to office on certain days a week or certain days a few weeks. So I personally don't have to deal with the sort of the crowd issue on
Yeah.
a regular basis. I
Yeah.
do think it's very busy for sure.
Yeah.
When you go to, certain lines are insanely busy in the morning, in the evening.
Yeah.
But it's slightly inconvenient. It's not something which impacts my life a lot more because I work from home.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I think I like living in Tokyo a lot. I think it's huge. There's so many things to do.
Mhm.
There is so many anything. The food is amazing. I think the variety is amazing. I feel like the public transport, even though it's crowded in certain times, it's really, really good. I feel one of the best in the world. I would say, like,
Yeah.
everything is, yeah. It's you're never too far from anywhere in
Yeah.
in Tokyo,
Yeah. That's
right? Even if you live on the outskirts of Tokyo, sometimes better than staying in the center because it's the same time you go
yeah.
to go to work, right? So I think it's very clean. People, as I said, are very respectful, etc. So
Mhm.
I like living in Tokyo. And of course, I chose to stay in Tokyo. And I had an option of staying at any other city in Japan because that's what my company allows.
Okay.
But I chose to stay here because I felt like this is where I would have the easiest time transitioning into Japan. There are
Yeah.
a lot more people who would be from outside the country.
Yeah.
I'll get to go to office a lot more. So that's why I chose to stay here. But I also have colleagues who have chosen to stay in other places like Sapporo, Kyoto, Fukuoka,
Okay.
Osaka. So they've been staying around. So I don't know if I'll stay long term in Tokyo itself, but so
Mhm.
far I'm enjoying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then one of my few last questions. Do you have any like future prospects for your career here in Japan or your career in general?
So when you say future prospects, do you mean like what am I thinking of doing in Japan after this,
Yeah,
or?
yeah, 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 yeah. Like, yeah.
Uh, so I think as I said, when I came to Japan, I wanted to work as a product manager and learn from a very different environment. Like I think I'm getting to work on products and work on interesting projects that I haven't before. And I
Hmm.
also get to work with a very multicultural team,
Yeah.
which I think also I'm learning from. So my goal for coming to Japan was just to learn. To be honest, I was
Mhm.
just want to learn, get better at my job.
Yeah.
So that's still my goal.
Mhm.
As to the future, I mean, I don't know. I have no sort of deadline or timeline and how long I want to stay here.
Yeah.
I think for now, I'm just very open to sort of learning. So that's the phase I'm in.
Mhm.
And I feel like even now, I don't know if you also feel this way, but Japan is also encouraging a lot more foreigners to come to Japan,
Yes.
right? So I feel like the prospects are only going to grow in the future.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that happens as well.
That's nice. Okay. Then for my last question for you, do you have any tips or advice for people who are looking for work in Japan or who wish to work in Japan?
Yeah. I don't think there's one of advice I would give to everybody, but I would say that, as I said, there are a lot of opportunities coming to Japan. for foreigners. So I would just do research on it. If you're really interested in going to Japan, just do research. I also talk to expats also about their lives. I think it's much more easier to get a very good sense of what your life will be. This is
Mhm.
what I did before I came to Japan. I spoke to people in the company. I spoke to people also in Japan and how their lives are. So I
Yeah.
have a good sense of what I can expect. So you're
Mhm.
not like shocked,
Yeah.
but generally, like the culture shock is less. That's one piece of advice. Second is I would say that even in situations where you don't think you need to learn Japanese, I would still be open to learning Japanese a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a few phrases, just starting a little bit. It's going to take a long time for you to be very, very good at Japanese,
Yeah.
but I would say that learn Japanese if you can and start learning.
Mhm.
That's another piece of advice. But yeah, I think just other than that, I think it's a great place to live. So I don't think that I need to worry about. So, but these are the tips. Okay.
Thank you. Well, that sounds, yeah, I think those two are very good advice for, yeah, I agree too. Well, thank
Great.
you for sharing your experience here with us today. I'm really happy to get to know you a little bit better, and I hope everyone else, yeah, also thinks that it's helpful to hear these stories. And yeah, thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you so much for this. I'm happy to help, and I understand what people are thinking about going through when they're thinking about coming to Japan.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to obviously help. And thanks for organizing this as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.